everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today's video is one that I'm super excited to film for you guys because today we are going to be doing a one brand tutorial on Refy Beauty. So if you didn't know, Refy Beauty is founded by English influencer Jess Hunt. I've actually been following her for quite a few years now and I truly think she is the epitome of the it girl. I love her hair, I love her makeup, I love her fashion. I feel like her style is just so effortless and chic, and I feel like her overall aesthetic is just super laid back, relaxed and very cool girl. So I'm so excited to finally try out her makeup. So if you're curious to see how this goes, then just continue watching. So as you can see, here is the Refy stuff that I picked up in my last haul. You can pretty much see I bought everything the brand has to offer, but I was so sad because the day after I filmed the haul, the next day I actually got an email from Refy Beauty saying there's a new tinted brow gel. I almost scrapped the entire video, but I stopped and I thought to myself, we've actually got a laminated style clear brow gel, a brow pencil and a brow pomade to try out in this video. So there's actually no room for me to try out a tinted brow gel anyways. So I'll pick it up and then one day we'll do another haul if I decide to pick up some backups, and I'll try that brow gel and it'll give us another excuse to do another full face of Refy. So as you can see, here is everything I picked up, but just as I was about to throw the box away, I saw a little piece of leather attached to one of the wrappings, and it turns out I completely missed a little Refy set of tweezers. So that actually came in the box too, and these are super cute. So we'll fill in our brows, and if I have any sparse hairs to remove, I'll actually try out the tweezers today. But I am so happy I didn't miss this. They actually almost went into the trash. How insane is that? Okay, so starting off, I'm very excited to try this product right here. This is the Refy Face Primer Glow and Sculpt. It's got 40 ml of product in it and it's in the shade Clear. On the back it says Refy Redefining Beauty. It's vegan and cruelty free, and also it's recyclable packaging. So as you can see, here is what the packaging looks like. It comes in a clean, minimalistic grey squeezy tube with Refy written in the center. But what makes this product so popular is actually this little applicator right here. So as you can see, it's actually got a little roller ball. You squeeze out the product and then you roll it onto the skin. So I cannot wait to try this. Okay, so I thought I'd show you up close what the product looks like. So I'll give it a squeeze. And then there is what the texture looks like. And then all you're meant to do is essentially pop that all over the skin. It actually feels a lot more watery liquidy than I thought it would feel like. For some reason I actually thought it was going to be super thick, but it's actually not. I'm actually quite surprised. And it actually feels so nice to massage against the skin. And then I'm going to take my hands and start massaging that straight into my skin. It actually feels so nice and refreshing. As I said, it's super thin and it's not very sticky, but it feels ultra nourishing. So after Jess does primer, she normally moves on to her brows. So I'm actually going to be trying out this product right here. This is the Refy Brow Sculpt in the shade Clear. These actually contain 8.5 ml of product. So here is what the packaging looks like. As you can see, it's once again very minimal, very clean, very chic. It's kind of like an off-white stone color. When you unscrew the lid, you can actually see here is the spoolie. So you can see it's pretty long and flat, and the product is like an off-white color. And then when you pull on the cap, you can see it actually comes with a little lash and brow comb. So I'm very excited and I've got very high hopes. So let's go right ahead and try it. So as you can see, my natural brows are not even, they're very sparse. I've got a longer tail on this side and a minimal tail on this side. This one's also thicker than this one. It is just a whole mess. So I'm going to do my best to try and do these brow products justice. So I'm going to open it up. And she doesn't actually back comb. I normally go right ahead and like back comb through my brow, but she pretty much just goes right in and starts fluffing them. And they tend to pretty much go up straight away. So let's give this a go. So there's what the brow looks like just by using the applicator. So I'm going to pull off the cap and start combing it through with the comb side. And I'm going to try and comb them upwards. She normally uses the comb like this and then holds it on its side and then kind of pulls them up. And she tends to get a super fluffy brow illusion. I find that the good thing about Jess's brows is they're actually very thick and I feel like they're very coarse. So it shouldn't be too hard to fluff up mine. And then I'm going to take the brush side and just really brush them down. So now that it's been a couple of minutes, I've actually let these brows dry down and they actually feel a lot more rock solid. So I actually think they're gonna hold in place all day and I'm very excited about it. But next we're gonna move on to filling in the brow. So this is the Refy Brow Pomades in the shades medium and dark. So I actually think today let's go in with the shade medium. So here is what the packaging for the brow pomade looks like. As you can see, once again, very minimal, very chic. It comes in this kind of off grey beige khaki color. On the top of the lid, you can actually see it's got the shade name written there. And then when you take off the lid, it's actually got a little brow brush. The brush is not very thin. I don't know how well you'll be able to tell. It's actually kind of a little bit thicker than I thought. But when you take off the cap and you unscrew the bottom, there is what the pomade looks like. So once again, this is the shade medium, but I'll bring up dark as well so you can see them both. So here is medium and dark together. So this one here is medium and this one here is dark. You can actually see there's quite a big leap between the two. So I'm going to start off with medium, but if it's too light, I can go into dark. So as you can see, it's actually a very tiny little pot of product. It only contains 1.5 grams. So I'm going to go right ahead and take the little brush straight into the pomade. I'm going to kick off the excess on the back of my palm and you can actually see it's a little bit darker than it looks. And I'm just going to start filling in my brows. Okay, so I've spent a little bit too much time trying to make these brows work and so far I'm not in love. I think the thing with the pomade is it's that very kind of waxy, sheer pigment where it tends to grip onto some parts where there is hair but doesn't seem to do very well around the areas where there's no hair at all. And I think because of that, some areas kind of bowled upon itself and kind of flicked off. Like it got a little bit like clumpy and then peeled a little bit and then flicked off. So around the front I went over way too many times and it got really clumpy, so I took a little brow brush and it seems to be fine now. But I think the one thing with this is I'm going to try it again in another video where I actually do my full foundation and powder and stuff and then go in with the Refy brow gel and then this, and I think it will work a little bit better. I think the primer on my skin just made my skin a little bit slippery and I think because of that the product just didn't want to grip. So I do still have some faith in this, but I definitely want to get a little bit of brow pencil in my brows. So speaking of pencil, I cannot wait to try this product out. This is the Refy Brow Pencil and I've got the shades medium and dark once again. And this contains 0.06 grams. So here is what the brow pencil looks like. As you can see, it comes in that slate grey colour like the primer. On the lid, it actually has a little note that says do not twist up more than 2 millimeters. So as you can tell, it's a super fine pencil. When you take off the lid, here is how skinny it is. Yeah, it is teeny tiny. That might be the smallest brow pencil I've ever seen. So this is once again the shade medium. And then on the bottom, you can see there's a nice small spoolie. So I'm going to start by swatching the shade medium. And then right next to it, I'm swatching the shade dark. So once again, you can see there's quite a big jump between medium and dark. So taking the shade medium, I'm going to go right ahead and start drawing in some precise brow hairs. Yeah, I like that brow pencil a lot. It is a little bit more pigmented. It's really skinny, so you can really get those individual hairs. The only concern is I know that you're going to run through this pretty quickly, but from memory, I don't think it's very expensive. So I'm actually very excited about that. So now that the brows have been filled in, I've got the perfect excuse to try out my Refy brow tweezers. I'm so glad I actually didn't throw these away. That was really close. So from this point, Jess likes to use her cream bronzers, her blush, and then her powder underneath her eyes. I have a little bit of redness and scarring that I like to cover up, so I'm going to go right ahead and do some foundation, and then my concealer, and then we'll come back to do the rest of the face like Jess does. So I just did my foundation and my concealer, so I used these ones right here. So this is the Dose of Colors Meet Your Hue Medium to Full Coverage Foundation in 119 Light Medium. And then the concealer is the Dose of Colors Meet Your Hue Concealer in 14 Light Medium as well. I did my best to do a light coat of each. So moving on to cream bronzer, I've got all 4 shades of this product right here. This is the Refy Cream Bronzer and I've got the shades Dune, Sand, Tan and Onyx. So seeing as I'm about a medium tan shade right now, let's try out the 2 middle ones. So they are Sand and Tan. So in case you're curious, I'll show you what the shades all look like. So this one here is Dune and this one here is Sand. And then here are the darker two. So you've got this one here in the shade Tan and this one here in the shade Onyx. And then to apply the cream bronzer and later the cream blush, just created this brush right here. This is the Refy Duo brush. So here is what the brush looks like. So you can see it's got a duo fiber stippling brush on one side and then a relatively dense black buffer on the other side. So you can see it's a nice dome shape. So I'm starting off by taking the duo fiber side of the duo brush and I'm tapping into the shade Sand. And Jess likes to lightly start bronzing the whole perimeter of her face. So as you can see, I'm building up the bronzer by tapping in a few more times. And as you can see, it's a very sheer formula. So I'm actually going to move on to the darker shade. So to really start building up some depth, I'm taking the shade Tan with the same brush. As you can see, it looks very dark. So I'm just going to start separating that onto both sides of my cheek. And then I'm going to start blending it out. Yeah, that is such a pretty color. And because Jess doesn't have any eyeshadows, I'm taking a small fluffy brush into the darker shade of bronzer. And I'm going to start applying that all over my eyelid to create a soft smoky eye. That literally took 2 seconds and it is such a beautiful shade. If you have these and you haven't tried that, that is so nice. I'm also going to take a little bit more and I'm going to pinch my brush and I'm going to run that underneath my lower lashes as well. Ooh, nice. And then moving on to cream blush, I picked up all 5 shades of the Refy cream blushes. I have the shades Rose, Peach, Citrine, Malaya and Cherry. So here is what the packaging for the cream blushes look like. They are so cute, but I've got to say these things are tiny. They only contain 1.5 grams of product, so I do feel like they weren't very expensive. However, the shipping from the UK to Australia did take a long time. So I do think if you like one of the shades that you see here, it might potentially be a good idea to pick up a backup because I do see myself running through these really quickly. But as you can see, the packaging is super beautiful. Just like the clear brow gel, they come in that light beige stone kind of off-white color, but I'll show you all the shades. So here are the first 2 shades. So you've got Rose and Peach. Next you've got the 2 middle shades, which are Citrine and Malaya. And then the last shade that we have here is a really beautiful soft red. This one here is called Cherry. So I think today I want to try 2 different shades out. So I'm going to put this one on this cheek and then this one on this cheek. And then I'll just rotate so we're even. So these are the shades Peach and Malaya. So to apply the cream blush, I'm taking the other side of the duo fiber brush, the black dome side. And I'm tapping into the shade Peach. And I'm patting that right on top of the bronzer. And then for the other side, I've wiped that same brush off and I'm tapping into this shade here called Malaya. And I'm going to start applying that straight onto this cheek. So there is what the two shades look like. Once again, this side is Peach and this side here is Malaya. They're both super, super pretty and I feel like I can get some good use out of them both. So next, Jess normally goes in with one of her powders. These are the Refy Skin Finish water-based powders. I picked up both shades 1 and 2. These contain 26 grams each. So here is what the outer packaging for the powders look like, and then once again on the back you can see it's really plain and simple. When you open them up you can see it's got a little twist off lid, and then there's a little tab here that says keep this lid on after use. So when you open up the lid and then remove the seal, here is what the powder looks like. So you can see it comes out of this little trampoline cushion right here. So here is shade 1. And then here is shade 2. So you can see in comparison, shade 1 is that light pale banana color, and then shade 2 is a light kind of pinky tone. So to apply the powder underneath the eyes, Jess actually uses a sponge. This is the Refy Beauty Sponge. So here is what the sponge looks like. As you can see, it's kind of like an off-white cream beige stone color. It's actually a very unique shape because the bottom's completely flat. You can see there's another flat side here with Refy written on there, and then it's got another flat side right here. So I think you're meant to use this dry. She applies it using the powder and just kind of bakes her under eye, so let's try that. So I just patted out any creasing that might have happened underneath the eyes. So I'm taking the top of the sponge, tapping that straight into the trampoline where the powder's at, tapping off any of the excess and applying that straight to my under eyes. This actually reminds me so much of that Becca powder where it actually feels incredibly strange. It's like that kind of cold, wet feeling. I was not expecting that. But wow, you can see just how much smoother this side is. That is literally immediate. And then now that I'm curious, I'm actually going to take the shade 2, which is the pinkier color, with the same sponge, tap it off, and I'm going to apply that one underneath this eye and see what the difference is. So I don't know how apparent it is on camera, but in person you can really see this one's a little bit darker and a little bit more pink. So I probably will reserve this for my face shade because I really enjoy the brightness that this side has. So I'm taking the sponge back into the shade 1 and I'm going to even out my face. And I'm also going to take that same shade in between my brows and the center of my forehead. And then I'm going to take shade 2, tap that off, and just work that around the perimeter of my face. And on this side to even myself out. So the next thing that Jess normally does is apply some highlighter. So I picked up the full size of the Refy Gloss Highlighter in the shade Topaz. This contains 20 mils, but when I made my package, they actually threw in this little gift as well. So this is actually the Refy Gloss Highlighter in the shade Topaz as well, but it's a little deluxe size in the 7 mil, which I think is so cute. So here is what they look like together. They are so cute, little mama and little baby. Literally these things are so adorable, and I feel like, again, I love a good travel size, so I might actually put this aside for a full face of minis or samples, so I'll use that next time. And I think today let's use the full size. So once again, here is what the packaging looks like. So you take off the cap, remove the seal, and then Jess normally squeezes it out and then takes it straight onto the cheek. So here is what it looks like on the back of my hand. Super pretty and very sheer and glossy. So I'm going to squeeze out a little bit more product, pop it on the back of my hand to warm it up, and then I'm going to apply that straight onto the top of my cheekbone. Yeah, that is super, super pretty. I actually love that. It is not sticky, it is not heavy, and it didn't break up any of the powder. That is so pretty. And then moving on to lips, I picked up all 6 shades and 2 backups of the Refy Lip Sculpts. So I have 2 in the shade Blush, 1 in the shade Rosewood, 2 in the shade Taupe, 1 in the shade Dusk, 1 in the shade Fawn, and 1 in the shade Sepia. So I'll go right ahead and swatch them all for you. So here is what the packaging for the lip sculpts look like. As you can see, they're once again very clean, very minimal, and they have that same slate grey colour. When you take off the lid, your lip liner is in here, so you can wind it up and wind it down. And then when you put the lid back on and then you unscrew the lid, you actually have this little applicator down below. It's kind of like a clear paddle with a bunch of product on the inside. So this is actually the sealant. So once you've lined your whole lips, you take this over the top and it locks in your lip liner. So I'm very excited to try that. So starting off, this is the shade Blush. Here is the shade Rosewood. The next one is the shade Taupe. This one here is the shade Dusk. This one is the shade Fawn. And then the last one is in the shade Sepia. Honestly, every single one of those shades is so beautiful. I feel like there's not a dud shade. I would love to see more shades, especially somewhere in the darker region, or maybe even a couple of colors like some reds or some bright pinks. But honestly, I mean, for my skin tone, those are so pretty. I think today maybe I'll try out the shade Taupe. So once again, I'm taking the shade Taupe and I'm going to start lining my lips. And then to fill them in, I'm going to take the shade Blush. And then I'm flipping the product over and I'm unscrewing the base. And then I'm going to take the lip sealant and apply that right on top. The lip sealant doesn't really feel like anything. Maybe it feels a little bit moussey, but I don't really feel like it feels dry or cement-like. So we'll see how well that lasts. And then the last product that we have to try on our face is this one right here. This is the Refy lip gloss in the shade Clear. This contains 13 mils. So here is what the packaging for the lip gloss looks like. This one is once again in the shade Clear. So you can see it's in that same kind of lighter off-white cream packaging. It's also a squeezy tube. And then when you take off the lid, you'll notice that the actual applicator is a very unique shape. So you can see it's kind of flat on one side. And then you can see it's obviously like a metal tip that has a little hole in the center that helps you grab product from. So I'm excited to try out this. So I'm going to squeeze the product out. And then there is what the lip gloss looks like. So I'm going to go right ahead and apply that to the lips. So you can see it's a very high shine, high gloss type texture. It's a little bit thick, but it's not sticky. Maybe just a little bit of like a cleaner scent, but yeah, it's actually quite nice. So that is it for the face products. I am going to go right ahead and just add a little bit of mascara, a little bit of liner and some lashes, and then we'll come right back to do the body. Okay, so I tried to keep the eyes really soft and really light and really pretty. So I just added a little bit of liner, smoked out that liner, added some mascara, and then a really nice soft set of lashes. P.S. I also tried to get off this lip liner. I've been scrubbing at this for ages and they are not coming off. So I feel like even without the sealant on them, these are super long wearing. I mean, they literally do not budge. So I feel like even without the sealant, this lip liner is super long wearing. It's very creamy and it does not come off super easily. So I'm very excited about those. But moving on to the body. So Refy actually has one body product that I'm very excited to try. This packaging is massive. This is the Refy Body Glow in the shade Topaz as well, and this contains 70 mils. So here is what the Body Glow product looks like, and you can see it's pretty much the exact same thing as the gloss highlighter. Both of them are in the shade Topaz, so I'm curious to see how the formulations are different. So once again, just like the highlighter, it's got the same screw top. And then once again, there's a seal. And then I'm going to squeeze out a tiny bit of product and pop that onto the back of my hand. So far, that literally feels like the exact same thing. So maybe we'll just compare them. So here is the gloss highlighter. So I'm going to take off a little bit of product and then apply that right next to it. So here are the two next to each other, and I feel like, to be honest, on surface level, they look like the exact same thing. Like the texture of both of them feels exactly the same. The tone is almost the same. I would just say, if anything, the body highlight is actually a little bit less glittery. I feel like it's a little bit more glossy, and I feel like it's a little bit more sheer. Like I actually don't see as much pigment. Like you can almost see the bottom one is just a little bit more pigmented. But apart from that, honestly, I feel like they're pretty much the same. Honestly, if you were wearing one or the other, I don't think you'd notice too much of a difference because they really do look and smell the same. So I feel like, if anything, you could probably use one for the other purpose, but I'm excited to have them both. So I'm going to take the Refy Body Glow and I'm just going to go right ahead and pop that all over my chest. And I'm going to massage that straight into my skin. As you can see, this is super luminous and I think I've definitely used way too much. So there is how the body glow came out. Ignore the redness, my skin is very sensitive to touch, but oh my goodness, it is so glassy. I even had to take off just a little bit because there was a lot on there and it's still this shiny. So I feel like it's funny because I don't feel it there, but my hair is getting stuck to it just a tiny bit. Nothing that would annoy me, but I feel like if your hair was up and you had this on the body, you really wouldn't mind. But if you had your hair down kind of like mine is, like you'll notice it kind of gets stuck just a tiny bit. So not too bad. But I feel like I'm not a very big body glow type of gal. But honestly, looking at this, I might become one. So yeah, ignore the redness. My skin's very sensitive to the touch, but that whole glowy golden goddess thing, that's all Refy. So yeah, guys, I hope you guys have enjoyed this makeup look, and I hope you guys have enjoyed my full face of Refy. If you have another brand that you'd like me to do a full face one brand of, let me know down below in the comments. But if you enjoyed this video, then you guys know what to do. Please feel free to leave me a like, comment to leave any requests that you have down below in the comment bar, subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell and drag it all the way down to all to become a part of this family and be notified of all my future videos. And I will see you guys in my next one. Bye guys. I'll let you know in the comment below. Unscrew the bottom. Wow. Let's try that again. And this contains 0. What? I actually picked up all, and I'm gonna massage. Is there a tissue on my hand?